On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, we talk with Cliff Quicksell about why you should write and speak and how you can make your next direct marketing piece a super success. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman. Thanks for joining me. And today, I'm very excited to have a promotional products industry writer, speaker, coach, and just an all-around good guy, Cliff Quicksell, joining me today. Cliff, thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Kirby.
Now, you are actively putting out articles and coaching principles and different things within the industry. In a recent article I read, you touched on what was EVA, an EVA principle. Can you touch on that, what that means, and why something like that's important?
Well, I can't take credit for developing the EVA principle, but I had the pleasure of listening to a woman by the name of Nikki Pratt when I was up speaking at PPPC in Canada. And it was really interesting because the things that she was talking about pretty much validated the things that I try to do when I'm building marketing campaigns and coaching and things like that. And the EVA principle is three things: being engaged, value, and appreciated. And the reality is, if you are missing any of those components, a lot of people think it's price-oriented all the time. But the reality is, if you're engaging your customers and you value them and you appreciate them, it really does connect. And the whole idea about engagement is so important. I mean, we hear about it. What's interesting is we hear a lot about it outside of the industry, but very little in the industry. And so I think that that's part, I mean, it was like a validation when I heard her talk about it, but because when I build my marketing, as I said, it's all about that engagement, the client experience. So that's what the principle is about. And you know, my hat's off to Nikki for bringing it public like that.
Yeah, you're totally right, Cliff. I think that by engaging, it creates context, and by context, then we have better relationships to build upon within business. So that's great. You talked about building marketing campaigns just now, and I know you've had tremendous success in creating like creative direct mailers. And so it occurs to me, direct mail is not dead if you do it right. So what are some tips you have for entrepreneurs that want to create a direct mail campaign?
Well, I looked at it two different ways. I think that people think about direct mail as literature that goes out. And I think that that's the way most people, I think a lot of clients look at it that way. So what I look at, the things that I develop, I look at them as more as direct marketing pieces as opposed to direct mail pieces. Because the reality is sometimes we don't mail it. Sometimes it's hand delivered. Sometimes it's you get something in return for emailing or something like that. So it doesn't mean, it's not a mail piece necessarily. So I like to look at it more as direct marketing. So the whole idea is, I think that you, like with websites, everything, your marketing must be relevant to the audience. This broadcast marketing campaigns that are developed like one size fits all, that just doesn't work. And I think that the more relevant you make it to the audience, the better. Recently, if I may say, we built a marketing campaign that was designed specifically to target marketing directors of law firms. I mean, that's very specific. Right. But the piece was remarkable. And a few of the affiliates that have used it have noted some amazing results. Like we have this one guy, Paul Zaffarana. He's like my poster child. I love this guy. He's amazing. But he buys it, sends it out. He sends out 10 pieces. He gets 6 appointments. I mean, 6 appointments with high-level marketing people that said, boy, that resonates, it engaged me, it has value, and I can see, it even gives the person, the recipient, the concept, an idea that you understand their business. So the tip I would say is they don't have to be grandiose. They can be small and targeted. In fact, most of the pieces that I put together are targeted at no more than 10 to 25 people. Because most distributors today couldn't handle more business than that. Right. If you hit a home, like if he had sent out 100 of those pieces and had a 60% response rate, he'd have been buried. He couldn't have handled it, no matter how good he is. So my idea is to create things that are focused, targeted, relevant, engaging, and really focused to a small core audience.
Yeah, because then you can, as you said, you can really resonate with them. And yeah, I'd say 60% is slightly better than most people's direct mail response rate, I'd say.
It's great. We did one when I first started consulting for I Promote You that has had 80% appointment rate setting. I mean, insane.
Yeah.
And the thing that troubles me sometimes is, why people are sitting there going, well, I really don't know if I want to try it. Well, you're telling me you can't get in the door, and now here I've got a piece that has had on average 80% response rate. Maybe you should jump on board. So when we first came out of the box with that, it was very, it was a struggle getting people to jump on board. But now we've done close to 8,000 pieces in the marketplace and have some outstanding results with it. So that's the as you know, you've known me for a while. That's my passion. I love developing those creative pieces.
Yeah, and I mean, and if you stand out within the niche, I mean, I think that you do get a lot of value for that. That's great. The other thing I notice about you, Cliff, is you, and it's actually the first time we met was you were speaking at an industry event. And so you do writing, you do speaking within the promo industry. And I think people might look at it and say, well, that's good for Cliff, but why is that practice good for anybody within this industry or in other industries?
Well, you know what? It's interesting. You and I talked prior to this, starting this, and you had indicated some folks that you've already interviewed, Dale Denham, Danny Rosen. I know all of those folks. And what's interesting is while there is some crossover a little bit in our messaging, Paul Kiewit's another one. There's crossover in our messaging. However, everybody has a story to tell. And I think, I mean, all the people that you indicated, which is really interesting to me, is no one comes to the table with what appears to be a personal agenda.
Right.
And that's what I love about the people that you mentioned. I mean, they're contemporaries of mine, they're colleagues and friends of mine, and they all have a really good message that resonates with the audience. So I think at some point in life, you have the opportunity to share some of the information. And I think that, people might look at that and, I mean, I don't know how people perceive me in the industry, but I think the people that really know me and have come here to hear me speak know that my message is very genuine and my goal is to see people succeed. That's what I want. I mean, to me, I can't tell you how refreshing it is, Kirby. I'll be at a show and somebody say, you know what, I heard you speak a year ago and I implemented some of the things that you said and my God, my business has taken off. For me, I mean, I don't get any money from that person, but I do get some satisfaction to know that I helped raise the bar a little bit. And that's my goal when I speak. And I think that it's good for us, it's good for the industry, as long as the rationale and the reason for why you're doing it is I would say, authentic.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that it occurs to me as you were saying some of those names is those are all people who do have the industry's best interest at heart, and I think they're out there sharing the message because they want the industry to raise its level. And when you come to it with that goal, you're going to have good results.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, Cliff. You've given me your time, and I appreciate it. I always give everybody an opportunity to ask me one question. I'd give you the same opportunity.
Wow, what do I ask the talk show host? Okay, so you're in the promo business, obviously.
Yes, sir.
I'm a big believer that people in this industry need to stop focusing on selling. I mean, leading with the idea and concept that they're product sellers. Now, I know you, and I think that you're a very clever guy. Number one, do you agree with that? And do you think that a good approach, because I won't jade it, do you think a good approach is to lead with the idea that we're more conceptual in our selling ability and lead with the marketing savvy concepts as opposed to leading with product?
No, I think, okay, so great question. And number one, yes, the products are a vehicle. I don't consider myself a product salesman, so I totally 100% agree with you. And I not only agree that the idea is we should be more consultative or conceptual, you know, I've built a business around it. So I guess I'd put my money where my mouth is. You know, we as a company have, you know, the biggest part of our business is still the promotional products side, but we also have a video production side. We have in-house graphic design. So, you know, I know that's sort of called an agency model, but I just want to be full service. One of the stories I heard was that, you know, I don't necessarily want to be a butcher. I want to be a dietitian. Okay, and what I mean by that is if you go into a butcher shop and you ask him what he should eat to be healthy, the butcher is always going to include meat, right? But a dietitian will look at you individually and try and decide what makes the most sense for you. And I want to be more of the dietitian. And so I totally agree with your concept, and I think hopefully we're both on the right track.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. If we have one more second, and my presentations, I often tell people, you know, consider yourself the chef.
Okay.
Now, because, you know, I'm a foodie. have a food background. I used to work in a restaurant as a chef and whatnot. And, you know, I said, you know, why is it that an executive chef makes more money than the guy flipping burgers at McDonald's? I mean, at the end of the day, it's all meat. So a chef is the one that does the presentation, the pairing of the food, and look at in any industry, the architect makes more money than the supply house. You know, the supply house for the medical industry makes less money than the brain surgeon. So become an expert in your field, and so that's. Yes, you and I are on the same page for sure.
Cliff, thank you so much. This is great. I really enjoyed this, and I appreciate you sharing your insights and a lot of your creativity. So thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Kirby. Thank you, buddy.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up another edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We will see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching, but wait! Can you do me a favor? Please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't done it already, the way to do it's right over here. And hey, if you want to watch the last episode, check that out over here. Again, before you leave, subscribe!